Hello and welcome to another episode of Coffee Talk with Encore. Today we'll be discussing how to properly code for Section GG's tub and shower transfers. Now, this is a new item within the MDS assessment and one that therapists all over nursing facilities within the United States are likely going to be asked by their facilities' MDS coordinators to help with the coding for these patients and their MDS assessments beginning on October 1st. Well, one of the questions that many of you might have about this new mobility item set is, how do we code tub or shower transfers on the day of evaluation, especially if the facility either doesn't have a tub shower type of setup or it's difficult to assess on day one? Well, we hope that today's discussion answers this question and provides you with tips to help make coding tub and shower transfers just a little bit easier as the Section GG coding requirements change on October 1st.
Yeah, so Kathy, like you already said, we are probably going to get many questions on this, and we have already gotten a couple questions on this. So we're just going to kind of take one step back and really talk about the why we're coding this in Section GG now. So this particular item set has moved into Section GG with that elimination of that Section G that we have probably all heard chatter about. So it was previously coded during the assessment period in Section G, and with removal of that, we as therapists will probably be asked to code that and contribute to it in the Section GG component. So since we will be contributing to that coding this section, we'll need to make sure that we do it on evals and discharges and then any interim assessments as well. So really, therapists should look at this as a opportunity to be, contributing to the accuracy of this coding area, and really making sure that we get it accurate as with all of the other areas as well. So just to kind of reiterate the actual task definition, when we're looking at tub and shower transfers, it involves the patient's ability to get in and out of the tub or the shower. So it does not include any of the washing, the rinsing, the drying, or any of those other bathing activities in this item. That, as we know, is a separate area of bathing, but just making sure that we all understand the actual task definition. So Kelly, as an OT, can you give us any tips on how to assess this on day one?
I can. So a lot of times we get asked or told we don't have a tub shower combo in the facility, but that's what my patient has at home. So how am I supposed to code this? Both for the goals and for Section GG, which is coming up in October. So the answer is, when it comes to Section GG, we are going to be using the facility shower. So that is not reliant on having a similar setup to what the patient has at home. We're strictly looking at them being able to get into and out of the shower, which we can use the facility shower for that. Now, when it comes to writing a goal on your plan of care, we want to be as accurate as possible to their home environment, and that could require a little bit of creativity. So that's where we turn on our OT brain and we try to figure out how can we simulate this, because we don't have this set up. So we can create a simulated tub edge for them to step over, or if they're going to be using a tub transfer bench, they can slide over that simulated tub edge on the transfer bench to see how they're doing. Becky, who's on this call, actually mentioned to me at one point using a tension rod and placing it at a shower ledge height to practice stepping over. And I thought that that was genius. And it's a very inexpensive way that we would be able to kind of add that within the department. So there's really a lot that we can do here to assess that when we don't have the proper setup, with just a little bit of creativity.
Yeah, so when we're doing our coding, obviously we've talked about it over and over and over, the accuracy of the coding for the Section GG, for the MDS assessment, making sure that that's coded correctly. Looking at how is the patient doing in the facility. And that's because CMS is using that to estimate the amount of care that's being provided for that patient. And we're supposed to be using that MDS assessment to set up the patient's care plans. So how much assistance do they need to safely get in and out of the shower? And what are we supposed to be setting up to keep them safe in the facility? That's very different than our therapy goal writing. When we're writing those goals, we do want to think about getting that patient home safely. We might write a goal for that facility setup to get them more independent in the facility first, but then definitely before we're discharging them home, we want to think about that home setup. And we can write that long-term goal for the whole tub transfer, but we also want to think about breaking that down in our short-term goals. And This item falls under the mobility section. So when you're thinking about where it's going to fall in those evals, it's probably going to come up in the PT eval, in addition to the OT eval, right? So we need to think about those components. Does that patient have enough hip flexion to make that even a possibility? Can they stand on one leg long enough to lift that foot up and over? So breaking down that task, looking at each of those individual components, and adding those into our short-term goals before we even begin to address that task as a full functional component is going to be important for our patients. Breaking it down, setting it up, and once we have those components, then putting it back into function and seeing where they are for that full task.
I love all those ideas. I just want to throw out there also for our OT and PT friends out in the world, watch out for duplication of services. So certainly this is one that we've got to be careful of. So make sure everyone within the department, they're communicating with one another so everyone knows who's working on what, and that we're not duplicating those services and billing for them. So, and I'm also certain with a little planning and communication amongst our therapy departments, as well as our facilities and nursing departments, I'm certain that we're all going to quickly and easily be able to adapt to coding to this new tub and transfer GG mobility item set. Well, I would like to thank everyone for joining us today and listening in to hear our discussion on how to accurately code the new Section GG Mobility Tub and Transfer item set. And we look forward to having you tune in again for our next episode of Coffee Talk with Encore.